If you believed everything you saw on Instagram, money would be a collection of hacks, shortcuts, and before and after photos. A coffee becomes a villain, a rented sports car becomes a mentor, 3 slides promise the one rule the rich never break, and every problem you have is one mindset shift and a discount code away. It's compelling because it's tidy, but real finances are messier and kinder than the feed suggests. They're built from systems you can keep, not stunts you can post. The myths are loud because they fit in a caption. The truth is quiet because it fits in a calendar. Let's dismantle the myths Instagram won't stop repeating and replace them with habits that actually build a life. The first myth is that getting rich is mostly about discipline around tiny purchases. You've seen the latte math. Skip a coffee, retire early. It sounds righteous and it photographs well. But the math that moves a household is not brewed in a cup. It's written in the 5 or 6 line items that define your month: housing, transport, food, childcare, insurance, debt, and taxes. If your rent is misaligned with your income, or your car is a subscription to identity, or dinner is negotiated on a phone at 6 p.m. every night, no amount of coffee austerity will fix the slope. The truth is less glamorous. A smaller, closer home, a reliable paid-for car, a 2-week meal loop, a day after payday waterfall, automatic investing into broad funds, and a weekly 15-minute money routine. Those are the levers that bend years. Keep the coffee if it helps you keep the system. The second myth is that there's a single correct budget percentage for everyone. You've seen the pie charts: 50-30-20 forever, or 70-20-10 if you're serious, or a guru's 80-10-10. These are templates, not truths. They don't know your rent, your commute, your kid's eczema, or your freelance drought last quarter. A better method is structural instead of proportional. 3 named accounts: bills for anything with a date, spend for weekly life, and freedom for cash buffers, sinking funds, and investing. The day after payday, a waterfall runs. Bills pad, spend reload Monday, freedom gets paid. Then you adjust the actual numbers until your week feels livable and your freedom transfer happens on schedule. Percentages are for infographics. Architecture is for families. The third myth is that debt comes in 2 flavors, good and bad, and that the label tells you what to do. Mortgages are good, credit cards are bad, student loans are good, car loans are bad, and buy now, pay later is fine because the app is cute. Labels seduce because they remove thinking. Real life demands a test. What's the all-in cost over the life of the loan? After this payment, does your bills pad still exist and your freedom transfer still flow? Is there an exit if your situation changes? Can ordinary you keep this promise on a tired Wednesday? A mortgage on an address that lengthens your commute and starves your buffer is worse for your life than a small 9% personal loan to fix a roof before winter. A student loan that buys a $6,000 raise for $60,000 fails math, even if the degree is prestigious. The truth is not a label. It's a test you run before you sign. The fourth myth is that the rich know secrets, and if you buy their course, you'll get them too. Secrets are good for sales. Systems are good for outcomes. The secret is an unsexy stack of behaviors: income you slowly raise by documenting wins and asking for more, a savings rate you increase 1 point per quarter until life complains, automatic investing into broad low-cost funds, debt you delete with a rule, not leftover hope, a phone that can't spend without permission, and a kitchen that feeds you by default. The secrets you're being sold are often stories with a screenshot. The system you can build is a calendar with a policy. One you scroll, one you live. The fifth myth is that passive income is passive from the start. The feed shows a hammock and a laptop and a cash while you sleep caption. The reality is that nearly all income is front-loaded with work, either in time, skill, or risk. Rentals require capital, repairs, tenants, and temperament. Digital products require an audience or a sales channel. Dividends require capital and patience. Index funds are passive to run, but not passive to fund. A healthier statement is, recurring income exists after repeated effort, and the effort is almost always more boring than the pitch. Build one reliable lane you can keep on a heavy week. 2 clients at €150 per month each for a useful service, and route it to freedom. Sleep is sweeter when it's paid by repetition, not by a promise and a carousel. The 6th myth is that your credit score is a personality trait. People flex numbers as if they were IQ. The score is a loan eligibility meter with a few levers. Pay on time, keep utilization low, keep accounts open, don't go application happy. It matters if you'll borrow, but your net worth doesn't care if you're a 760 or an 820. A 680 with savings and investments is a better life than an 820 with balances and no buffer. Stop worshiping a number designed for lenders. Use it, maintain it, and redirect energy to assets you own and habits that reduce the need to borrow in the first place. The 7th myth is that investing is about picking the right stock this year. This myth is born for social media, a ticker, a chart, a prediction. Picking can work for a few, it distracts the many. The durable truth is that broad, low-cost index funds, held for decades, purchased on a schedule, rebalanced within bands, and left alone, outperform most people's noisy attempts at cleverness. You can allocate a tiny explore slice if you want, but the core is boring on purpose. Boredom is an edge online, because boredom is not engaging. That's why the feed rarely shows it. Your net worth will. The 8th myth is that cash is trash. It's catchy when rates are low and it flatters bravado. Cash is oxygen. It prevents good plans from dying during bad weeks. You don't hoard it indefinitely. You press toward 3 to 6 months of expenses, depending on volatility, and you keep a 1-month bills pad so autopays don't ambush you. Then you invest the rest. Cash isn't a strategy, it's a seatbelt. You don't win races by removing the seatbelt. You win them by wearing it so you can stay on the track long enough to finish. The 9th myth is that minimalism is deprivation. The posts show white rooms, a single fork, and someone who looks hungry. Minimalist money isn't about less for its own sake. It's about fewer moving parts so the right parts compound. You still own good things. You just decide enough per category. 8 mugs, not 15, 2 jeans you love, not 7 that argue with you, 1 chef's knife and a heavy pot that turn groceries into dinner. And then you stop shopping those categories for years. The savings are not just euros. They're decisions you don't spend and regrets you don't buy. Your home becomes a machine for living, not a museum of intentions. The feed can keep its white walls, you get your evenings back. The 10th myth is that the path to wealth is linear and quick if you're doing it right. The feed rewards dramatic arcs. Real lives advance in quiet increments across boring months. The first 10,000 is installation. Rename accounts, build a starter cushion, set the waterfall, run the meal loop. The next 15,000 is rhythm. The robot runs and you forget to think about it. The next 25,000 is momentum. Paid off payments become investments with no ceremony. The last 50,000 before your first 6 figures is protection, sleep, insurance, guardrails, quiet. That story doesn't fit in 9 slides. It fits in 3 calendars: weekly money hour, quarterly audit, and biannual rebalance. You don't need faster, you need durable. The 11th myth is that rent is throwing money away. Rent buys flexibility, location, maintenance, and time to build a down payment without pressure. Owning is wonderful when an exact address passes the math and the life test. Owning is miserable when it starves your freedom transfer and lengthens your day. The cheapest house is the one that surprises you the least because you maintain it. The richest feeling is not I own, it's I sleep. And many renters sleep better than owners who bought a museum they can't heat without a spreadsheet. The 12th myth is that frugality equals virtue. The platform loves austere 25X's heroes who scold and shame, but money is a tool for a life with faces. Spend on purpose, not apology. If your budget has a line for generosity and a line for joy, and if those lines fit inside a system that pays your future first, you are not failing, you are living. The goal isn't to spend nothing. It's to spend repeatedly on the few things that make your days better and your years lighter, while refusing to rent temporary feelings from places that invoice you later. Virtue is a quiet calendar and a balance that grows. Shame is a poor teacher and a worse roommate.
The 13th myth is that you can hack your way out of a bad income with coupons and side quests. Coupons are fine, cashback is fine, but the lever with the most torque is earning more at the job you already have by becoming more useful and asking for more with evidence. A €300 monthly raise routed by policy beats 20 hacks you'll forget by March. If you've capped your useful lever at work, productize one skill and sell it twice a month to real people. Avoid build an audience unless you want a second job. 2 clients at $150 per month each is $3,600 a year, which becomes $3,600 of freedom and shares. Instagram celebrates hacks. Your plan celebrates raises. The 14th myth is that millionaire habits were the cause of wealth, not a byproduct. You see a ritual, 5 a.m. alarms, cold plunges, complicated notebooks, and assume correlation equals causation. Wealth most often came from competence sold for years, a savings rate kept in multiple seasons, ownership of broad assets, and protection against ruin. If a habit helps you keep those, keep it. If it's a costume you wear for the camera, take it off. The habit that moves more money than any other is a weekly routine you can run when you feel ordinary. Instagram doesn't film ordinary, your bank app does. The 15th myth is that fear is a strategy. Crisis content farms attention. Recession coming, hyperinflation, this one stock will save you. Panic makes you click and freeze. Systems make you add and sleep. Have an investment policy in one paragraph. Target mix, funds, contribution date, rebalance band, and the few events that justify changes. Job loss, new dependent, major health shift. During loud weeks, read the policy, run your schedule, and go make dinner. The antidote to fear is not swagger, it's automation. The 16th myth is that everyone else is doing better than you. The cars, trips, kitchens, and "we did a thing" captions are a highlight reel curated by marketing teams and tired people who want to feel okay. You're not seeing their debt, fights, or 2 a.m. baby fevers. You are certainly not seeing their net worth. Wealth is quiet by design. People with real assets talk less about assets and more about weather, recipes, and who's coming over. Build a life that looks boring and feels rich. The feed won't clap, your nervous system will. So what do you do with a platform full of myths? You turn it into a tool. Follow fewer accounts and require 3 things from the ones you keep: specificity, receipts, and systems. Specificity sounds like set a day after payday transfer of €400 to Freedom, $250 to index funds, $150 to cash until you hit 1 month of expenses. Receipts look like I reduced my phone bill by $18 a month by switching plans. Here's the script. Systems look like we use bills, spend, freedom, a weekly money hour on Fridays, a buy window on Sundays, a 2-week meal loop, and rebalancing on January 15th and July 15th. If an account sells vibes without verbs, mute it. Curate your inputs and your outputs will improve. If you need a practical antidote to the myths right now, do 4 quiet moves that never trend. Rename your accounts, bills, spend, freedom, and schedule your day after payday waterfall. Draft a 2-week meal loop and shop your pantry before you shop a store. Create a buy window on your calendar and install a 2-sleep rule above your sting threshold. Write a 1-paragraph investment policy that selects 1 or 2 broad low-cost funds, sets your contribution date, and defines your rebalance band. Then stop scrolling for a week and run the script. The calm you feel will not be viral. It will be yours. In a month, your feed will still shout. You will still see wealth hacks with neon arrows, but your numbers will be heavier and your days will be lighter. You'll have fewer packages at the door and more food in the pan. You'll stop arguing with a card at midnight and start sleeping because your bills pad exists and your freedom transfer landed. You'll notice that the people worth listening to are telling the same quiet story. Build rails, widen the gap, automate ownership, protect sleep, and repeat. That story does not need a ring light, it needs a calendar invite and a boring robot that moves money while you live. Instagram will not stop repeating myths. That's fine. You can stop repeating them to yourself. You can build a household that is unpersuadable by fear and unimpressed by flexes. You can spend on purpose and save without a personality change. You can own a small piece of the world by buying broad funds every month and ignoring the dopamine carnival. You can raise your income by keeping a document of wins and asking with evidence. You can decide enough and discover that enough feels like oxygen. The algorithm is not your budget, your system is, and your system will be the reason next year looks richer on paper and quieter in your kitchen, even if your grid never knows it.